This is the Barbados Today morning news for Monday, February 6. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. We begin with a call from the Barbados Road Safety Association for insurance companies to introduce programs to deter motorists from driving recklessly. The association's call comes as police recorded several accidents over the weekend and a number of road fatalities for the year so far. BRSA President Charmaine Roland Bowen told Barbados Today that something needs to be done to reduce the number of accidents.
They need to come together and form a consensus requiring persons who are involved in serious accidents and fatals, that they be required to do some defensive driver training, to enter a program of defensive driver training and reassessment after they have completed the program. This program, they would be issued a certificate which they can take back now to the insurance company and, get, continuing insurance or whatever. But they need to do something. If not, these collisions are going to continue to happen.
Motorists are paying more for petrol products from today. Effective midnight last night, the price of gasoline increased from $2.78 to $2.98 per litre, while the price of diesel is up from $2.15 to $2.17. Kerosene now retails at $1.13, up from $1.04. A 100-pound cylinder of gas now costs $147.04, up from $129.98. The 25-pound cylinder is now $41.48, up from $37.42, while the price of the 22-pound cylinder has risen from $33.10 to $37. The 20-pound cylinder is now $33.64, up from $30.09. The adjusted retail prices are due to changes in the cost, insurance, and freight of these products. Caribbean governments are being accused of focusing on meeting the U.S. demands on fighting terrorism while ignoring the increasing cases of murders and gun crime at home. The charge from the Trinidad and Eastern Caribbean representative of Prophet Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, David Mohammed. He was delivering a presentation on Black history on the weekend.
With our follow-fashion Caribbean governments, we have the highest murder rates in the world, in the Caribbean and Central America. And you know what's so ironic? The Caribbean region is probably the only part of the whole world, along with Central and South America, where there have been no terrorist attacks in the last 10 years. The entire Caribbean region. You've had terrorist attacks in Belgium, in England, in France, in Germany, all in Africa, in Asia, in the Middle East, Iran, Iraq, Syria, all in Australia, in New Zealand, in Canada, all in the United States. No terrorist attacks in the Caribbean, but our governments are talking about national security legislation against terrorism to impress the American government, to give them the impression that we care more about their laws than our own problems. When we have the highest murder rates here, and we're ignoring murder and the proliferation of guns and drugs being brought into the black communities.
Meanwhile, as Barbados observes Black History Month, social activist David Commission is calling for more careful planning of lessons on Black history in schools. The president of the Clement Payne movement says teachers may need assistance in preparing the content of Black history classes.
Maybe part of it has to do with how the material is being delivered to the students, because you could think you're doing something good, but if you are teaching if the history is being taught in a way that inspires feelings of shame or negativity in the student, then you can actually end up doing more harm than good. So the point I'm trying to make is the teaching of our history, the teaching of our Black studies is something that has to be done very expertly and sensitively and with a proper perspective. In other words, in the hands of unskillful teachers or using works that are not well designed, you could actually end up doing more harm than good.
Komisyong was speaking ahead of a presentation on Black history by the Islamic scholar David Mohammed at the Crumpton Street headquarters of the Clement Payne movement on the weekend. In sports, Barbados Pride scored a 2-wicket win over Guyana Jaguars in their Group B match of the Regional Super 50 on Sunday. Pride ended on 188 for 8 off 49.3 overs. Shea Hope top scored with 63 and Kevin Stout made 51. Jaguars, meanwhile, were 186 off 50 overs. Veerasamy Permaul top scored with 32, Rajendra Chandrika 30 and Anthony Bramble made 29.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Get your paper, get your paper. Only $2.25, $2.20. Who? For what? That's BRSA news. I don't read about that on Barbados Today since last night. That can't only care do. $2.20. Who?
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
We're back now with news from the region, and the leader of Jamaica's main opposition, People's National Party, Portia Simpson Miller, will demit office on April 2nd. On Sunday, Simpson Miller told a meeting of the National Executive Council that she will submit her resignation to Governor General Sir Patrick Allen after she makes her contribution to the budget debate in Parliament. The former Prime Minister said while she will step down as opposition leader, she will remain as the parliamentary representative for St. Andrew South West. The PNP will host a special delegates conference on March 26 to choose Simpson Miller's successor. It is expected that the former Finance Minister, Dr. Peter Phillips, will be selected for the post. Simpson Miller was Jamaica's first female Prime Minister, and she leaves office as opposition leader after serving as PNP president for 11 years. On the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump is stepping up his criticism of a federal judge who blocked a travel ban on 7 mainly Muslim countries, saying the courts were making U.S. border security harder. In a series of tweets, Trump said Americans should blame U.S. District Judge James Robart and the court system if anything happened, but he did not elaborate on what threats the country potentially faced. He added that he had told the Department of Homeland Security to check people coming into the country very carefully. On Saturday, Trump referred to Robart as a so-called judge after the jurist issued the temporary restraining order. Vice President Mike Pence defended Trump on Sunday, even as some Republicans encouraged the president to tone down his broadsides against the judicial branch of government.
During the course of the campaign and since the outset of this administration, President Trump has made it clear he's going to use his authority as president under the law to put the safety and security of the American people first, especially when it comes to protecting this country from the threat that radical Islamic terrorism poses to our families and our communities. The executive order is on a solid constitutional and statutory foundation. One court in Boston confirmed that. Another court in Washington came to a different decision, but we're very confident that as we move through the process of these appeals, that the President's authority in this area will be upheld, and we'll continue to take such actions as are necessary to put the safety and security of the American people first.
That's news this morning. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Or you can tune in to Channel 99 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM for more news and sports. I am Maricla Williams. Have a good morning.